All right, guys, this is a little bonus call. This was a bonus for the Black Friday, Cyber Monday deal that I had going on. So anyone who bought during that time, I made like 4 of my trainings available, and anyone who bought was able to join this call. But I also sent it out to anyone who bought this product earlier. So if you bought during the promo, thank you. I hope you guys are enjoying the trainings. If you bought before that, your existing customer, same thing. I hope you enjoy the training, and thank you for putting your trust in me. So today will be pretty informal. This was going to be a training that was, see a couple of you here in the mastermind. This is going to be for the mastermind members only, but I want to do it for anyone who bought this as well as a bonus. So this is my updated email list growth protocol. And I'll give you guys a copy of this doc when I send out the replay. This changes from time to time. I usually review it every quarter or so. And this is the most up-to-date version that I'm using right now. So this is my protocol on how I grow my email list. It's a pretty straightforward strategy that I'll cover today. And it's how I'm able to get leads using paid traffic for, what is it now? $2.26 per lead, which in our industry, in like the online business, online marketing, that's pretty good, especially with once someone joins my list, my email game and my email marketing activates. So what I'm going to share with you today is the strategy behind that. I'm going to show you the example of the funnel and the different pages, and you can take this and you can run it with your own stuff. Okay. So before we start, in the chat, like, how many of you already have an email list and you're just looking to grow it? Give me a 1. If you don't have an email list at all, give me a 2, just so I know where everyone's at. Okay, so 2 ones. All right. Okay. So sounds like so far, mostly 1s, looking to grow your list. All right. So this would be faster for the people, obviously, who already have the list. If you don't have the list, though, this is like how I would do it from scratch. Okay. So let's first talk about a lead. When I say lead, a lead is someone who's given you their contact information and or permission to communicate with them. So if someone, I'm talking mainly about email lists today, but if someone is, let's say they're messaging you on LinkedIn or Instagram and they're showing interest in what you have to offer, I consider that a lead too. So leads are abundant. Everyone says, I don't have enough leads, or all my leads are broke, or my leads are the wrong people. It's just, that's your fault, right? So you need to create the right bait to attract them. The way that I always think about it is, imagine that you're going fishing for marlin. You need a specific type of bait to go and catch that marlin. Like most people, what they're trying to do is they grab their fishing pole and they put a piece of white bread on the hook and they cast it out. And they're like, why am I not catching any marlins? All I'm catching are these sewer fish here, right? That's what most people do. So you need the right bait. If you want to catch the big fish, or you want to catch a very specific type of fish, you need the right bait to attract them. So keep that in mind when I'm going through this. When you grow your list, it's all about having the right bait, and the right bait is your lead magnet. So the process is simple. First, you create a useful piece of content for your person. So you figure out who it is, and you create a useful piece of content. And then you're giving it away in exchange for their name and email address. Now, I use another strategy as well, where I charge people to join my list. So I'll sell a product, and that's how people join my list. That's a totally different conversation. What I'm talking about today is how to grow your list with leads. Okay. Building a customer list or buyer list is a separate conversation. So I have found, and I've tried everything, PDF downloads. I've tried checklists. I've tried free trainings, free courses. I've tried videos. I've tried like free email courses on all that. What I have found the best is an ultimate guide around your protocol of getting results. Okay. So this is going to be it's tough if you're a beginner and you're trying to grow your list, because you need a reason for people to want to join your list, right? So for all of you here who already have your list, or maybe you're selling an offer, and it could be any type of offer like service or a program or a course or whatever, you need something. You need something that you've achieved or helped someone else achieve that other people want as well. Otherwise, there's no reason to join your list. And what you're going to do is turn that thing, whatever that thing is that you can get results with, into an ultimate guide. And the ultimate guide just details your protocol of how that thing works, how you get the result. So why do we do this? Well, it builds authority and it warms people up to wanting to work with you, which that's the purpose of my list, right? I don't want to just, I've built lists before. Like I've had many different businesses. I built a list to 60,000 plus people before in the combat sports niche, but it was all from free people. It was all the wrong people. So I want to build a list of people who want to work with me, right? My list is not 60,000 people anymore or right now, but I make way more money for my list now. And it's because I built it with the right people. So it's really funny to me when people look at people like Hormozi and they try to copy his strategy, right? But if you remember what Hormozi's strategy from the start was, it's always, I have nothing to sell you. So why would you copy someone who doesn't have something to sell if you have something to sell, right? So we have something to sell. So that's what this whole strategy is about. It's not just building your list. It's the protocol for building your list if you want that list to turn into sales, or those leads to turn into sales. So the way that you do this is you follow these steps, and you can promote the free thing, the useful piece of content, organically to start, and then you can turn it into a book, and that's when you can turn the ads on. All right. So yeah, John, I love that framing. Selling an appetizer equals charging people to join your list. Yeah, that's a different strategy, right? If you charge people to join your list, that's like a different beast, because then you have to figure out conversions and you have to figure out the funnel and all that. This is a very simple funnel to set up. I'm going to show you guys exactly what it looks like. So yeah, let's go through the steps now. So the first thing is to create your guide. Here's a couple examples. I also used this strategy when I had an agency as well. I had a lead gen agency for about 3.5 years. And I sold LinkedIn lead generation and outbound cold email prospecting as a service. And I had something called the Beast Mode Prospecting Guide. I'll try to dig it up. If I can find it, I'll link to it here. And the strategy was the exact same. It would detail our protocol of how our done for you service worked. And then I would send it out to people in my audience as the bait. And at the end of that guide, it would say, hey, by the way, if you don't want to do this yourself, like I know it was for SaaS companies. I know you're a SaaS founder. You have a lot to do. So if you want us to do this for you, instead of training somebody up for 3 to 4 months, we can come in and do it for you. Turnkey. So that's what the purpose of this guide is. And you're going to see a couple examples here. So this is a new one that I just created, right? So there's an outcome of the guide. There's an introduction section. And then here's the protocol, right? How do we get the outcome in the headline? Well, here's the 3 steps. And this is something else I've discovered. 3 is good. People remember things in 3. So if you can break your protocol down to 3 steps, that's best. This is one that I created back in February, March of this year. So you can see it's 6 steps. And this here, this new guide, is really the same thing. It's pretty similar to this. I just condensed it into 3 steps. So people remember things in 3s. If I'm told like 2 things to do, or 4 things, or 5 things, I don't remember it as well. If I'm told 3 things, I remember it very well. So I like to make it in 3s. And the framework is simple, right? You have your outcome right here. You have a little proof shot or whatever. I like to spice it up with images wherever I can, just to show like a proof or demonstration. I like to shoot videos of all my guides. You also probably heard of this as a VSL, a video sales letter. So this is a VSL. I uploaded it to my YouTube channel. And when I'm creating the guide, this is what I'm thinking of, right? We have the outcome, we have the introduction, who it's for, my discovery story, like how I found this method or strategy, whatever I'm covering in the guide. Then I go over the protocol. And the protocol is just, here are the 3 steps that you need to do to achieve the result in the headline. What I also do is I have little mini detailed steps within each step. Okay. And by the way, guys, I'm not looking at the chat. So if you have any questions, you can just pop it in as I go through this, and I'll get to the questions at the end. Now, in each step in the protocol, I have more detailed steps, and wherever I can, I am trying to show instead of just tell. So I do a little bit of explaining. So I talk about the what, like what the step is, why you should do it, why it's important. And then I just like to go straight into like a demonstration of the step. So let me go here. For example, I'm talking about a main course offer. Okay. This is a high ticket offer. It could be one-on-one, whatever. And then I take a screenshot of the doc that I used to sell this offer. I can't really take a picture of the offer itself because, I mean, this is the offer. It's on the Google Doc. So wherever you can, let's see another example here. The email funnel, right? Instead of like just trying to over explain, like, hey, here's the email funnel, the opt-in page, thank you page, welcome sequence. I just screenshot it, right? And I show just like proof shots and examples. So does anyone remember Billy Mays? He's like one of the greatest direct response TV advertisers of all time. What was it? Was it the ShamWow? Or was it like OxyClean and stuff? Yeah, OxyClean. So Billy Mays, yeah, OxyClean, there we go, sold billions of dollars worth of product through infomercials on TV, right? And he would refuse to promote a product unless you could demonstrate it, right? So that's what you want to keep in mind. You go through this, you're just demonstrating each step. You're showing each step, right? So instead of just talking and be like, oh, this and that, you want to share the what and why. But as soon as you can show, like, here's an example, just do that. So as you're creating this guide, that's what you're doing. In each step, you're talking about the what, you're talking about the why. You give a little bit of the how. So you give enough of the how where someone who's really, really determined and motivated can go and do the thing. And then you just give a proof shot of like, here's an example or demonstration of what it looks like. Okay. So that's the framework for the guide. And you'll see this if you go through it. If you want this, go to seananthony.co and just opt in. You'll see the entire funnel. Okay, so that's the steps in the protocol. And then at the end, what I do is I summarize and I invite them. Oh, I also do case studies, right? Case studies are important. So I summarize the steps, right? Here's a summary of the steps I followed to do the result in the headline. Step 1, you do this. Step 2, you do this. Step 3, you do this. I light a bit of a fire under their butt too. So like every day you should be doing these things. When it rains, it pours. Pours. All right, disregard that. When it rains, it pours. It will feel like nothing is happening, then everything happens all at once. Once you find momentum, you strap the F in and you push as hard as you can. If you take your foot off the gas, a competitor will notice, steal market share from you, and eat your lunch. Every day you're marketing, selling, and working on creating the best product possible. This is how you win. So yeah, like I'm getting them fired up, right? Someone's reading this, you're like, frick, I want to do this, right? So that's the effect that I want at the end of this. They understand the plan or the protocol, right? So here's the result. I want this result too. I understand the protocol. How do I work with Sean, or how do I work with so-and-so to get the same thing, right? So case studies, sometimes I like to start with it at the top. It's probably better if you start with it at the top in the beginning, but I'm just testing something where I added it at the end in this case. So in this one, I started at the top, and this is selling a 30K one-on-one offer, which I sold a lot of through this doc. So this one I started at the top, the case studies, and then I go into the protocol, and at the end, it's just the summary and invitation. This one I'm testing at the end. I don't really know which one's better yet. I don't have enough data. And then I have a After the case studies, it's what to do next. So I have 3 options, right? 3 options. Number 1 is usually you decide this is like not relevant to you. So, goodbye. Number 2 is I give them the option of, hey, I laid out the protocol. This is not new. So if you just want to try this out on your own, that's fine. However, you will make mistakes and you'll spend longer. Or you can take the easy path and you work with me. So if you value time and speed to success, and you'd rather work with someone who's already done this thing and they actually created the protocol, then reach out to me, right? And this links to an application. Okay. I also have a what you get section. So this is promoting the mastermind. And so I talk about like what you get and the pricing and all that. And then also FAQs. And FAQs, by the way, are just, it's answering questions, but the questions are objections. So the objections are like what would hold someone back from buying. So this is a guide. This can take a decent amount of time to create. Like this one probably took me a week to go from like starting, and I pulled content from some of my other assets too, but it doesn't need to be this long. The idea is you're just giving people, like, you have an outcome that they want. You have a protocol of how you got those results, and you have some case studies, whether it's your own case studies or from a client, and you invite people to work with you in achieving the result of the case studies and implementing the protocol together. Okay. So this is the guide. This is one that I created earlier this year. This is selling a 30K offer. This one is selling my mastermind, which starts at $275 a week. So this is, by the way, if you can't tell, this is best for high ticket offers, higher ticket offers. So that's step 1. This is probably the beefiest part of this. Remember what I said about the bait. You need the right bait. This is your bait. Okay. So this is going to determine the type of person you attract. If I change the headline here to how to make your first 10K or how to get to your first 10K month, who do you think that's going to attract, right? Give me like a hint in the chat. Like, who is that going to attract? If I change the headline to how to get to 10K a month with your online coaching business or whatever, brokies. Yeah, beginners, right? Newbies. People who are just starting out. I'm working on another version of this too, an even shorter version here. I don't want to pull it up yet because I'm not done with it, but I'm creating a shorter, punchier version just to target like B2B and tech companies again, because they have deep pockets and they're easier to help. So that is your bait. When you're creating your guide, make sure that the outcome of your guide is something that is going to attract the fish that you're trying to attract. If you're trying to catch a marlin, don't put a white piece of bread on your hook. I don't know what marlins even eat, but yeah, there's some kind of bait that's perfect for them. So that's the most important step, is creating your guide and making sure that it's whatever fish you're trying to attract, it's going to attract that person. All right, catch a tuna. There we go. I like tuna better too. I like tuna a lot. So whatever they eat. Does this make sense, guys? Like, this is probably like the 80% of it. Okay. Now, once you have the guide created, you can actually do this before you create the guide. But you're going to test resonance with your audience. Now, if you don't have any audience, then yes, this is going to be more difficult. You probably just have to create the guide and test it out. But what I like to do is I cheat a little bit. So I already have an audience and I don't want to create something nobody wants. So what do? Well, I write the first page. I put the outcome there. I have a little bit of, text there. This is for you if this is not for you if this. And then I make a post like this, right? Here's how I did this thing. Here's a little discovery story. I went from this before to after. And in this guide, I'm going to show you how to do it without any of these things. Would you like a link? Comment guide below. Excuse me. So doing this, I always talk about selling before you build, right? This is kind of a version of that. This is a free thing, so we're not really selling it, but I don't want to write this whole guide if no one wants it. So if this got like, crickets, then I probably I would have changed up the outcome or the hook. But it did okay. So I finished writing the guide. And this is how I cheat, right? Instead of writing the entire thing, I just screenshot the first page. And there we go. Sneaky, yeah. I mean, that's really what it is, right? Let's take an example. Elon Musk, the Cybertruck. Elon Musk pre-sells all the time, right? This is like one of the biggest questions I get asked is like, how do I guarantee that I'm gonna if I put something out there, it's gonna sell, right? Or people want it? Well, you pre-sell it, right? You figure out if people want it. So what does Elon Musk do? And I'm talking about the Cybertruck because everyone's starting to get their Cybertrucks now, right? It's being released, but it's been years. I don't know how long it's been, 3 or 4 years since the first pre-sell. So Elon Musk will pre-sell his cars. He just has like a rendering of it, and then he might like have a. I remember actually he did a demonstration of the Cybertruck, and he was trying to test like how durable the windows were, and he took a hammer and he hit the window and it actually cracked, which is funny. So like, he was still able to pre-sell it, right? So that's an example of what I'm doing here. So I mean, it's not really sneaky. All the big businesses do it, right? Minimizes risk. So we're testing resonance. This is an example that I sent out through email. And this is for my mastermind, actually. So I do this on paid offers. I do it on free offers. So this was sent out to a customer list, right? And so I shot them a video as well and pre-sold the offer. Like, here's what the offer is. I walk through it. Let's see. Here is an example once I published the video. So the first one here was just me validating that people wanted it. This was 3 weeks ago, and people did want it. So I finished it up and then I shot it as a video. I just did a video of me reading through the doc. So it's an hour long and I got 1.9K views so far. So I posted it on LinkedIn, and this leads to the video, and then the video leads either to an application or my email list. Now, what you can also do is send it out through cold outreach. So I'm sending this out on LinkedIn right now. Let's just bring this up. Here we go. So here's an example message, right? Hey, David, thank you for connecting. I'm always looking to connect with sharp folks and was intrigued when I came across your profile. I specialize in this. You can see the guide as well as client case studies here. And then I have a soft invite. If you'd ever like help setting this up, please let me know. Either way, I hope you find it useful. Now, do you guys see how this is different than like the typical cold message? This is why the guide is really powerful, because no one is doing it. No one's leading with something useful. Everyone just wants you to get on the phone call or to sell their shit, which, respect. But when you lead with something useful, you don't get people telling you to pound sand all the time. Because you're leading with something useful and relevant. Remember the bait, right? We're putting the bait in front of the right fish. That's really all we're doing with the cold outreach. So we're testing resonance with organic methods. And yes, I know this is not exactly the email list part yet, but I'm getting to it. So we're testing resonance. And the reason why we're doing this is we want to figure out if this is worth growing our email list around. Is it attracting the right people? And what we're looking for is engagement and ideally some sales. So when I first started sending this out 3 weeks ago, I got a bunch of applications for the mastermind. I don't let everyone in. I look at the applications. I think I signed up 4 people so far, and I'm still going through the list. People are still applying through this video because it's on YouTube. So the mastermind isn't cheap, right? It's $275 a week, where you can pay for 6 months. And yeah, this is already it's already a proven offer because it's generating sales, multiple 5 figures in sales so far. In cold outreach, I'm starting to get positive responses and people in a cold audience who are engaging with me. So that's what I'm looking for. Now, when I test resonance, my next step is convert the guide into a book. So I designed the cover in Canva. This is an example of, where is it? This guide here. This guide was turned into a book. That it's the No Sales Calls book. It's the same content. It's just I made it pretty. Can anyone tell me why I turned it into a book? Give me a guess in like the chat. Perceived value. Yeah, that's actually pretty accurate. So perceived value, like people understand books. They buy books, audiobooks, regular books, digital books on Kindle, and there's an assigned value to books, right? Oh, I know if I buy a book, it's going to cost anywhere from like 10 to 25 bucks on average, right? Yeah, people understand books. If I were to give a course away for free, like I know marketers do that thing, right? Oh, this is like worth $990,000 in value. Okay. But that's like a value that they don't really understand. Like you're just assigning it a value. With a book, books have that built-in value. People have been reading books since the beginning of time, or since they could, write scribbles on paper or whatever. So people get books, and this has a huge effect on your cost per lead when you start running ads. Because people see the book as an ad. They're like, oh, this guy's giving away this really interesting bait, this really interesting book for free. And I would probably have to pay like, 20, 30, 50 bucks for this, or maybe you have to buy a course for this, but he's giving it away for free. So books have a value tied to it. So that's why I use books. And this is a big part of the strategy. So this is an example of a finished book. I created this cover in Canva. So Canva has I think I just put a black background and then I use just whatever text looked good. And this bar is just one of the elements. And yeah, I don't know what font this is, but that's all it is. This is the book. If you want, you can go to Fiverr and just hire someone to create you a cover. But I just like I did this in like 5 minutes, right? It's not, super pretty, but it's clear. If I zoom out, it's clear. Someone can see the cover and be like, oh, this is interesting, right? Remember the bait, right? Your title of the book is like your bait. It's like the hook. Okay, so how do you convert your guide into a book? Well, first of all, you need to give it a sexy name. And keep remembering, I'm going to keep going back to this, right? The bait. Give it a sexy name that calls out to your perfect client. So no sales calls. Who do you think that's going to attract? It's going to attract someone who is, ideally, they're doing sales calls and they don't want to do them anymore. It's probably not going to attract someone who is brand new to business or a beginner or a newbie, right? So you want to give it a sexy name that calls out to your perfect client. This is too long of a name. So this kind of became, or this became like the subheadline, right? This. So you give it a subtitle or hook that explains the outcome. Enroll 4 to 5 figure clients every day without sales calls. In the book, you add an intro and discovery story chapter. So if you read my book, you'll see it. If I scroll down here, there's an introduction. And this is like how I discovered this method. Okay. You also want to add a case study chapter at the end with success stories. So at the end of the book, here we go. We got case studies, and it's the same format as what I showed you here. And then what you do is you reiterate the invitation throughout the book, and you can do that by adding like your call booking or CTA link in the footer of your book. So I haven't done it here. I should probably do it, but you'll notice like here, just in the guide alone. Nope, not here. Here, it links to emailrainmaker.com, which is the application for the mastermind. I should probably link this to a VSL though. So yeah, you're adding your call booking and CTA link in the footer, and then you reiterate the invitation throughout the book. So in the copy here, I like drop little hints like, hey, if you want help with this, just reach out and I'll tell you how it works. And then of course, at the end, we have an explicit invitation, which is work with us. Now, once you have the book and you can hire someone on Fiverr to do it for you, you also want to get mock-ups of the book. So what I mean by that is, bring it up here. You want a 3D mock-up of the book. This really gives life to your book. So if you don't like a digital product, it's hard. You're not holding it. So they need to see like what it's like, a physical representation. And this really does help. I'm telling you. So this costs like $5, $5 or $10 on Fiverr. And all you have to search is like 3D mockup or 3D rendering of a digital product. And yeah, that's all this is. It's just a book. Someone can see it. It's 3D rendering. And let's go through the opt-in page. Any questions on this, by the way? The book, converting guide into book. Put some chains with a padlock on it. Yeah, that's actually kind of cool. Have you ever tried to sell the same books that you give away for free using ads? Yeah, some of them I have. You drastically lower the amount of conversions you bring in. So I am very email heavy. And I know that if someone's on my list for a few months, maybe a year, if they're the right person, they're going to buy eventually. Just because I'm consistent with my emails. So my priority is getting people on my list. But yes, I have tested the conversions go way down. You build a customer list, but you get way less people. So instead of like, let's say like 30 leads a day, maybe now I'm getting like 2 or 3 sales a day. I'm not saying either method is wrong or right, but for me, growing my list, I know that if I just grow my list, I'm growing my business. Okay, opt-in funnel. How do we capture leads and put them on our list? Well, really simple. We create an opt-in funnel. If you go to any like landing page builder or whatever, like I use ClickFunnels, but you don't have to. I think ClickFunnels is fairly overkill. This is the layout. Free book. You call it the title. You have the subtitle. And then this is a copy framework. I just call it the old versus new plan. So the old plan, what are they doing right now to get the result? Well, most high ticket business owners, they think they need sales calls to get clients. That's the old plan. In this book, you'll discover a system to get clients every day without the phone. That's the new plan. Okay. I used to add bullets here, but I found it to work better without it. So this is it. This converts at like a 62%. Okay. That's good. So that's the opt-in page. Here's an example of a thank you page. So the thank you page I'm split testing right now. You can either have a self-liquidating offer, which is like a low ticket offer that helps you to pay for your ad costs. So this is a $27 offer here. Or you can have like a VSL, like a video sales letter that leads people into applying for your high ticket thing. So those are the 2 things that I'm experimenting with. So you can split test with that. Yeah, so you can have a thank you page as a video that goes to application, call, or chat that goes straight into your high ticket. Now, once you have this set up, you have your opt-in, you have your thank you, you just run really simple ads. And people say that Facebook and Instagram ads are like dead or they're really expensive. I have not found that to be the case. And I think a lot of it has to do, like I said, with the book and having the right bait. Now, this is so simple. Like this is my targeting. I haven't touched this since May 6th. Look at my targeting, right? I'm targeting all the tier 1 countries. Open age, open gender. I went to browse. I did interest and I just clicked business and industry. That's it. Your real targeting is going to be the title of your book. That is, again, the bait, right? That's what's going to determine who you attract. And this is the ad. I call it the niche. I do old plan versus new plan. I say, if you want the new plan, check out this book. It's free. I've only tried one ad and I haven't touched it because it's converting fine. So for anyone here that's like, I know people get really jazzed up on the ad stuff. What is an ad? An ad is just a piece of content you're paying to put in front of people. Right? That's all it is. If your content sucks, then your ad's going to suck. So the useful piece of content is the key. That's it. Like I just showed you the entire ad campaign. And then people will like see that. I've shown that to like some of my clients. Are like, is that it? Like, what else do you set up? I'm like, that's it. I just showed you the funnel. That's the list growth funnel. So this is like 90% of it really is creating the right guide. And then everything else here is just like putting in the pieces to get that guide into the hands of more people. Now, if you want to see the follow-up sequence, once someone joins my list, if you opt in here, you'll see it. And you'll get the emails day by day. But the goal of the welcome sequence, once they opt in, is to get them into my main course offer, which at the time is my mastermind. Okay. So that's it. Was this helpful? Give me a 1 if anyone's still here and awake. Cool. Awesome. This is the protocol, guys. Remember the bait. People do a lot of tricky things to try and grow their list. I can tell you this, every time I grow my list, I grow my income. So that's what I focus on here. I'm growing my list with people who want to work with me because they're sold on this, the outcome in the guide, in the protocol. And then once they're on my list, because of my email marketing game, my daily emails, my promotions, my different appetizer offers, that's when people decide to work with me. And yeah, that's that's it. And by the way, guys, if you're interested in the mastermind, this is what we do. An Email Rainmaker is we build this out. We do a lot of other stuff too, but this is a big part of it, is putting this system into place. Because if you can grow your list with the right people, like that's every week I ask my mastermind members, like, what's their biggest challenge? And I ask this to like people on my list too. And everyone always says, I'll get in the right leads, getting in front of the right people, getting in front of enough of them. And this is how you do it. Cool. So let's open it up to questions. I'll go through the chat first. So John's got 2 programs. Effortless flywheels, your post per cut. So I always just start with the highest level thing. What is the highest level offer I want to sell? And then I create a guide around that. You can create multiple guides. I don't like to do that. It just distracts you. So I start with what is the main thing I want to sell right now? And then I create a guide around that. Or at least I start with that one. Thinking about doing something similar where the ebook is free first, but that leads to an immediate shipping only upsell for the paperback. Yeah, you can do that. That's kind of like a free plus shipping thing, right? So yeah, you can do that. Sean, have you ever tried to sell this? Oh, I think I already answered that. Rita, can I use Thrivecart for the landing page instead of ClickFunnels? I think Thrivecart only, it doesn't allow you to do like free opt-ins. I think it's only purchases. So if you want to run this lead gen book funnel, then no, because you would have to get someone to opt in. And if you're using Thrivecart, they would have to just buy. Why did you opt not to use bullets in the copy? I think I was just testing. I saw somebody else not using it, and I had seen his book funnel around for a long time. So I was like, let's just test not using bullets. And I don't know if that's what caused the change in conversion, but like it's been converting. The opt-in page has been converting at 60% plus since May, which is what, 7 months now. So I just kept running with it. I should probably run a little more tests if I'm like a good marketer, but I haven't, because it's been working just fine. Glenn, how would the guide change if you were selling LTO? I probably wouldn't use a guide to sell a low ticket offer. It depends on your industry, but like, let's look at supplements or something, health supplements. They use long form VSLs instead, which is kind of like the guide. You can also use a sales page. If you're trying to sell an LTO, I would just go straight to selling the LTO. Because the guide is really what's in your LTO, most likely. Abe, so you can actually give away physical books, same offer type. I wouldn't do that, because then you're paying money. You're paying additional money to ship it out, right? If you do a physical book, you can do a free plus shipping offer. So Russell Brunson, I just bought this book, The Linchpin. This was a free plus shipping offer. So you buy the book, and then his upsell, I think, was just like an application form to his whatever his coaching thing was called. But yeah, that's, if you're doing a physical book, like you're actually selling it, then you would do like a free plus shipping funnel, which is kind of different than this. Cool. What else we got? And you guys can unmute, by the way, if you can't type.
I can type, but I prefer to unmute if you're up for talking through what my protocol guide would be for my high ticket program. Would you be
Sure.
up for that?
Yeah.
So I mentioned in the chat like a couple different, I mean, basically two of my offers that make the most sense to talk about because they're the most dialed in are I have my 6-figure flagship accelerator, and Group Coach Bootcamp is honestly just like a downsell from that. So I would just set that aside and say that program is focused on helping professionals who are already building an online education business create and sell a high ticket program. Usually it's a group coaching program, but I teach them how to do sales calls, how to do high ticket sales. So my book could just be called Yes Sales Calls. Maybe since no sales calls work so well. I'm kidding. But yeah, but I help people create and sell that offer and generate $10,000 per month from a new group coaching program from scratch. So that's definitely something I feel like I could write a guide about, but I'm just curious kind of, I do want to write a guide that's just like convincing people to get into group coaching, because I feel like that's kind of like the wrong angle. So I'm just curious how you would approach that that type of product. What kind of guide you write for that?
Yeah. I mean, the guide is really, it's always going to be the same thing. You lead with an outcome that a specific person wants, and that you've either achieved or helped someone else achieve.
Mm-hmm.
And then the guide is just you breaking down how it worked or how you got that. And
Yeah,
you
I'm
create the
probably
guide based on like the highest level thing you want to sell.
yeah, I'm probably overthinking it because I've written a few books, and so I think of it as like I'm thinking of it as like a nonfiction book on a bookshelf, and I'm not saying it couldn't be there, but it just sounds so simple to be like, oh, I just break down a couple case studies of how I've helped clients generate. Because I just crossed the milestone, my clients have generated more than $1 million in group coaching sales this year. And so like that's a key milestone I feel like is worth celebrating and like writing a guide about. I'm just kind of and maybe that's it. It's just it sounds like it's just like just literally taking that and breaking down like how we did that this year. Um
Yeah.
in a Google Doc.
This is a good conversation. This is a training I did for, or a conversation I had with mastermind people, but let me discuss it here because really that's what we're doing here. So all a business is, or when you're trying to scaling an offer, it's just it's a duplication of a case study. Did anyone see my email on that?
I saw that. That stuck out to me when you wrote that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is. So this is why beginners have such a hard time. Like the first client's the hardest because you don't have a case study. So no one has any reason to pay you or work with you, right? So once you have the case study, all you're really doing here, all you're doing is you're documenting the case study and the steps you took to get the case studies, right? And you're duplicating it, meaning you're trying to find more people like the first or few case studies. So how do you know what to start with? Well, you start with the case study, right? And you do that typically, like this is out of scope for this training, right? But you work with a business typically one-on-one to help them achieve some kind of really good result. And one case study can blow up a business, right? If you get one really solid case study, that could be personal, could be someone else, that can blow up a business as long as other people want that same result. To scale, you're duplicating the case study by marketing the first one. And then once you have more case studies, you become known as the guy or gal for that case study in that particular niche. So you always start at the high end because that's where profit is had. And it's also where it's the easiest to get results. You document the case study and then you create the guide around that case study, how you got that, or case studies. And that's really all this is. It's a breakdown of how you got those first few case studies. Anytime I create a new offer, by the way, like in a different market, then I go back to this process again. It's like, okay, how do I create, if I want to sell this thing to this type of person, what were my results here so far? And if they're not strong enough, then I go out and get those results first, and then I come back and create the guide. But since you already have the case studies, and you start with that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of great case studies that I probably am underutilizing. So that's a great tip. Thank you.
Yeah, scaling is a business is duplication of a case study. Like look at Hormozi. I use those examples in the email, right? Hormozi, where he grew his own gym, then he flew out to gyms one-on-one, helped them grow, and then he sold his protocol, which was gym launch, on how he grows gyms. A very basic protocol, but it was applied to the gym industry. Sam Ovens, consulting, right? Built his own online consulting firm, then helped people one-on-one in small groups. Then he sold his protocol to like, I don't know, 60 million a year or whatever it was. Many different cases of this, of people who do that. They usually start within a business or they work one-on-one with the client, and then they scale up the case study. Vivian, how do you troubleshoot or know if that guide is converting people into sales? Well, it depends on the channel that you're using. So if you have your own audience, then, and you're posting content, you're looking for engagement, and well, people are buying because money's hitting your bank account, right? So you need something to sell. You need your offer. That's where the guide is around, right? It's pre-selling your offer. It breaks down the protocol, and at the end, it invites them. So yeah, the obvious answer is people are buying and you're making money. The other thing is people are engaged with the content. So this is more along the lines of like, I'm sending this out for cold outreach as well. And so people are responding back. They're asking questions. They're like, how does this thing work? How would this work for my business? Or what about this piece here? Like, how would I generate traffic for a consulting firm, right? And so people are asking questions, they're engaged. And if they're asking questions, it means that they're interested. So if I'm doing sales calls, I don't do many sales calls anymore, but let's say that I'm doing sales calls and I'm sending out the guide through cold traffic, or like outbound prospecting. I'm looking for 3 to 5 booked calls for every 100 people who see the guide. And those are just rough numbers. Like it could be more, it could be less, but 3 to 5 is what I'm looking for. So if 100 people see the guide, I'm looking to have 3 to 5 people who are like, hey, this looks cool. Can we hop on a call and discuss how it worked for my business? And then ideally you're closing 1 or 2 of those. Okay. Yep. Abe, have you tried in other channels, Google Ads, LinkedIn, and other places? Well, yeah, you guys saw LinkedIn, right? I'm sending it out through LinkedIn, both content and through direct outreach. So it's going to depend, like the channel you choose will depend on where your audience is hanging out. And also if you already have an audience on some platform, that you would just start there, lowest hanging fruit, right? So I have the guide, it's linked here. This is the YouTube video. So this is the featured section. And then like I showed you earlier, this is going out directly to people. Here we go. So yeah, I've tried other channels. That's another thing that's great about these guides. The traffic channel doesn't matter. You can go on any channel. If you have a useful piece of content, all you got to do is find the channel where your ideal people are hanging out. Again, think of like fishing, right? You're going to a certain body of water or a certain area where they're hanging out. You're just casting your fishing pole out. So all those channels can work. It just depends on where your audience is hanging out. And Abe, you're in masterminds. We'll talk more about this tomorrow. More in depth. Yeah. That was my wedding photo, my new profile picture. So Glenn, a bit random. I noticed you don't use X much these days. Not worth it. I wouldn't say it's not worth it. The virality in that platform is like better than any platform. Like if you get retweets and people commenting and liking and engaging, it pushes you more than any other platform. Like you can have a tweet that just goes stupid viral. But I don't know. I wasn't getting, for me, my audience is more on LinkedIn. And the energy is, I don't want to say it's toxic on X, but I don't know. Everyone's always fighting there, fighting, bickering. There's a lot of drama on Twitter. People always mad and angry. So I was just like, fuck this. Why am I wasting energy here? And I would find myself just getting sucked into like the news feed. So it was good for a while. And then I just didn't like the energy. So I'm not attached to any one platform. If I'm not liking it anymore and I just feel like it's either the results aren't there, and results, I mean like engagement with my ideal people and sales conversations. If I feel like that's not there anymore, or if I just don't like the energy, I just stop, right? My YouTube channel, I stopped for 5 months because that was more of a personal thing. I hired an editor, and the editor, like good guy, does a great job. You can see it on my channel. Like there's like a 6 or 8 videos or so. And you'll be able to tell if you look at the thumbnails. But great guy, but he just had like his suggestions for the types of videos that I needed to create to grow my channel. It was just not aligned with what I wanted to do. So I just got burnt out just putting out those types of videos, like the really like jump cutty, I don't know, like mass market style videos. I didn't like it, and it burnt me out. I didn't post for 5 months. And so now I'm just starting to post again, and I'm just like not giving an F. So there's no like thought into the thumbnails. It's just a screen grab. It's just me going through my computer, like not really editing anything at all. And it's kicking ass again. So I'm like, I'm just going to keep doing this, right? Video a week. So, yeah, it's just, I don't know. I wouldn't say it's not worth it. I would just say like, it just wasn't worth it for me based on what I was looking for. Elon does not want ad money. I don't know the full context of that. All I saw was a clip of him saying, like, if you're trying to blackmail me for ad money, I don't know what was going on. Then like go after yourself or something. I thought that was funny. I think Elon's a funny guy. Rita, how do I monetize my email list? You sell something, you sell stuff. either your own stuff or you recommend other people's products that could help your audience. So you're connecting your audience to a product that helps them. Glenn, did you experiment with your book and X ads? They're insanely cheap, and I'm not sure about lead quality though. So I did use X ads for a while, but they were not to my book. It was like follower ads, and they were super cheap. I think it was like a 1 cent per follower, but I only ran it for like a month before they changed up their rules a bit. I don't know if they still offer follower ads, but I did it because I could start conversations with people. So no, I haven't tested it with X. I like Facebook and Instagram, like my audience is there, and LinkedIn for the organic stuff, because LinkedIn paid is very expensive. I am working on a new LinkedIn funnel though, so I'm not sharing anything around that yet, but I think this new funnel is gonna kick ass. Giles, I think that's how you say it, Giles. So I've got this landing page promoting a sample chapter of an ebook I wrote. I would really like your raw and honest and professional opinion on it. That's it if you're open to checking it out, of course. Yeah, you can share it here. Really though, I don't like the idea of it promoting just a sample chapter. Like, I mean, you're seeing from my strategy, right? I just give the book away. If my goal is to sell something higher ticket on the back end, I'm asking myself, like, is this the right bait, right? If I just give away a chapter, is that going to be enough? Let's take a look. So is this just one chapter, the 7 biggest email marketing mistakes, or are you giving just one mistake away or something? I'm not really clear on that. I would just give away all the mistakes.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. Is that just one mistake?
You should be giving away. Like, if you're asking what I would do, I would give away all the mistakes.
Okay.
Yeah, because to me, it feels like a bait and switch. You're saying the 7 mistakes, and then you download the sample, and then it's like, what? This is one mistake.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. So I would give it away. What is that? Who always says that? Give away the information and sell the implementation. Is that Hormozi?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, I don't fully agree with that. Like, I wouldn't give away all the information, but I would give away enough for them to understand the protocol or the plan and then want to work together. And giving away one mistake, like, to me, that's not a good bait.
Gotcha. So like the reason I did that was because like the first chapter of the book is like almost half the book, which is like the biggest mistake.
Why not just give away the book then?
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Hey, Sean, can I say something on this book?
Sure.
Listen, Giles, here's what I would say. You can give away the book, right? But you can go ahead and tell them, listen, you can do this you can do this yourself, take months and months, or I can do this for you way fast. And also tell them, look, these are the 7 steps, but there are other steps in the middle that if you don't do it right, this could also lead to problem that depends on your unique situation, where again, why implementation that you can help them with will come out much better. So you want to get it done faster, quicker, and done right. Hey, let me help you implement this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's what I did at the end of the guide, right there.
I kind of have something like that at the end of the full book. So yeah, I would just put the book up.
Now throw a video up there. A video will say 1,000 words better than the book or the copy. Just throw a video up there and put your appointment calendar right below it, or put a scheduled call. and test it out.
Okay.
Yep.
Like
I
a
like that
VSL.
video. Yep. My VSLs are just me reading over the doc. Fencing option. This is the newest one. Yeah, that's my thoughts on the book.
All right. Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Sure. Miss anything? Anything else, guys?
Sean, I have a question.
Yep.
I know this is not part of this book, a part of this course, but how can we borrow your brain for an hour?
For what? An hour?
Just an hour. That's good enough,
Oh.
just to get that knowledge.
Well, I mean, this is one way, right? If you want one-on-one, I charge $1,000 an hour. I only sell a few of those spots every month, but yeah, that's another way. And then we just get on Zoom and talk about whatever you want. But you're in the mastermind, man. So
Great, thank you.
yeah. All right, guys. Doesn't look like there's anything else. So I'll send out the recording and a link to the doc that I covered today. And if anyone is interested in the mastermind with just building out this together and getting your list growing and monetized, then reach out to me. You can just respond to the email or just shoot me a DM. And yeah. Glad you enjoyed it, Glenn. All right, guys. I'll see you when I see you. Have a good one.